listening to Give God 90, where we're not afraid of the tough biblical questions, because we will dig through the language, the culture, and the history to find the truth revealed in the words of our Creator.
Happy Thursday, everyone. Thank you for sharing some time with us today. We do appreciate it. If you are new here, I hope you like what you hear. A little different tonight because, well, you'll see. But if you do like what you hear, those like buttons and share buttons work really well. I am being closely monitored and supervised.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight.
I had a very interesting interview with Logan Crawford the other day from the Spotlight Network. As soon as they release that, I will make sure it's available for everyone. I want to remind everybody about that. And of course, we were talking about God's Universe, God's Rules, the second book in the second book of the three that I put out. So I'll make sure that is available. Something else I need to say is a couple of weeks ago I mentioned Reverend Dr. Sean Greener and put a link to his YouTube channel. And since that time, he's let us know he had a pretty serious issue with it and had to create a new YouTube channel. And as soon as I have that available, I will put that out as well. But there's just some things you shouldn't do when you're not feeling up to doing them. So we'll leave it at that. I think that's all the advertisements I had for the evening. I hope. I took a couple days and was getting ready for that interview. And in that time, I thought, it seems like we talk about a lot of bad news. And I started looking through some current events and trying to find some positive things that I could mention. And, it's kind of getting more and more difficult to do that. And it's not because there isn't anything positive happening. Okay, it's out there. You just have to hunt for it. Sometimes you have to dig for it. And that's not a pun because I'm going to be talking about archaeology either. But, sometimes you really do have to search for the positive things because they're simply not being reported like the bad stuff gets reported. Part of that is because bad news sells advertising. It's just that simple. I had this conversation earlier with someone today. And I said, it's kind of funny you bring this up because I'm going to talk about it a little bit tonight. You realize that worried people crave more worry, or so it seems, right? Whereas people who genuinely, why can't I talk tonight? People who genuinely pray and try to live the way the Creator designed them to live, they're not as worried. They don't have the world's coming to an end crisis that a lot of people have. The Bible says, don't worry. What was the song that was famous a few years ago? Don't worry, be happy. Not like that. But Philippians 4 says, don't be anxious for anything. If you have a really, really good cross-reference for that verse, you're going to be surprised how many places that it will take you where you see examples of people who should be worried. Something really, really bad could happen. But because these people trust in the Almighty, they're not worried. Are they a little apprehensive? Probably. Abraham was probably on a very slow walk up the hill with Isaac, right? But even so, there's a huge difference between people who accept and trust the Almighty and the people who either reject him or they may believe, but then they try to lean on their own understanding. So there's a difference there, big difference. So let's see if we can find some positive things to look at. Some of you know a dear friend of ours is involved with what's being called the real Mount Sinai. Not the one at St. Catherine's, the one that's in the Jabal al-Awz mountain range of Saudi Arabia in the land of Midian. What many people don't realize is there's no archaeological evidence to support Mount Sinai on the Sinai Peninsula, where St. Catherine's Cathedral is. But there's a great deal of evidence to support the presence of the Hebrew people in the land of Midian during the time of Moses. We had her on a couple of years ago, and everybody really enjoyed it. I hope that we can get her back on again sometime soon, real soon. We miss you. But, the things that and I'm not going to take anything away from what she might have to say. Not going to give you any spoilers or anything. But there's a lot of really interesting, really cool things that are happening over there. She sent me pictures that you wouldn't believe. You just wouldn't believe. And hopefully we'll be able to share some of those soon. There's more and more people all the time becoming convinced that what is in the land of Midian is the real Mount Sinai. World-renowned archaeologists are going there. They're visiting. They're seeing things that other people have overlooked. Foundations of houses that are completely Hebraic in nature. And that's just part of it. There's thousands of drawings and inscriptions. The Bible Museum is interested in this project as well. And I'm not going to give away any details. I'll save that for when she's available to join us. And I'll let her tell you about all the good things that are happening there. There have been other archaeological discoveries in the Middle East as well. Even though there's conflict in Israel right now, armed conflict in Israel right now, over the last few months, the scientists continue to uncover things of great interest. The Cave of Salome, for instance, is considered an important discovery. Maybe I should say the Tomb of Salome, because it was considered of great importance to the very early Byzantine Christians. They found more than 1,500 ivory fragments that have been located in the city of David. These pieces are believed to have been decorations on furnishings of the wealthy that lived there. Something I thought was kind of interesting. They've discovered walls that they can date back to the time of King Hezekiah, 2,700 years ago. All this has been going on. You don't hear about it, though, do you? What do we hear about? Oh, somebody bombed somebody else. But I do need to pause and say that all of these things I just mentioned, they have something in common that we don't like to talk about. Because some people are trying to say that, well, you're just trying to prove the Bible's true. And that's not an accurate statement. The Bible would be true, even if these discoveries had never been found. Where a lot of people think that proof is required to convince others of the Bible, they forget there's plenty of extra biblical evidence that's already proven that there were the people that are named, the places that were mentioned, they do exist, they were real. And these come from writings of other nations that have been found. So there's evidence out there. You don't have to go to dig up Israel to find evidence that what we read in the Bible is accurate. what these new discoveries do is help us to confirm the exact locations of where the events described in the Bible took place. We don't have to prove the Bible. We don't have to prove God. He proves himself every day. He doesn't need our help, right? If we would just look around and see the things he's doing, he proves himself every day. And let's just listen to how some of this is actually described. Go ahead and read that if you would.
There are things about God that people cannot see, his eternal power and all the things that make him God. But since the beginning of the world, those things have been easy to understand. They are made clear by what God has made, so people have no excuse for the bad things they do. Romans chapter 1, verse 20. People who are comfortable don't care that others have trouble. They think that people who are in trouble should have more troubles. The tents of robbers are not bothered. Those who make God angry are safe. They have their idols in their pocket. But ask the animals, and they will teach you. Or ask the birds of the air, and they will tell you. Speak to the earth, and it will teach you. Or let the fish of the sea tell you. Every one of these knows that what the hand of the Lord has done. That the hand of the Lord has done this. The life of every creature and the breath of all people are in God's hands. The ear tests words as the tongue tastes food. Older people are supposed to be wise. Long life is supposed to bring understanding. Job chapter 12, verse 7 through 12.
The Bible tells us if the animals and the birds and the fish and the rocks know what our Creator has done and is still doing, then mankind, being made in the image of God, has no excuse. We have no reason for failing to see that he is still very much involved in his creation. David writes that this is the day Jehovah has made. Do you realize what that means? Everybody knows, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Terrible rendition of that song. But anyway, what he's actually saying is today, right where you're at right now, this very day, our Creator continues to create, and we should be glad that he is still so involved in our creation. You realize without him, we wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be here. And I get confused by the folks who wake up every day and can't see the world around them. They always look for the bad. They look for the bad in the world. They look for the bad in other people. We don't need to adopt their problems, right? It's their problem to have. They need to work it out in fear and trembling. We don't need to adopt their sin. We don't need to adopt their evil. We can listen to the rocks as they cry out when the archaeologists find amazing things from the past. Whether it's a stone wall somewhere from 2,700 years ago, a foundation from 3,500 years ago. Those are the rocks that are crying out. Listen to the earth, and it will tell you. We should be glad our Creator chooses to create one more day for us, just so we can be thankful. A few years ago, when I was going out almost every morning and taking pictures, I realized something. It doesn't matter where you are on earth, whenever you see a beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunset, whether it's storming, cloudy, it doesn't matter. It's the only time you will ever see that exact one. because every day is going to be different. Every sunrise is different. Every sunset's different. Every moonrise is different. It's always changing. It's consistently being created in front of our eyes. That sounds like pretty good news, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
We listen to the animals and the birds and the fish because they can teach us. They have a lot to teach us. A few years ago, there was a really cool video where a scientist took an aquarium and he took water from what was in an inlet. The water comes in from the ocean into this inlet. They took buckets of this water and filled up the aquarium. And then they put, and I think it was like a 50-gallon aquarium. So you have 50 gallons of water. Then they put 24 oysters in it. And that was it. And they let it sit. And the time lapse was 2 hours. Now, when they first put the water in, you couldn't hardly see through the other side of the aquarium. In 2 hours, those oysters had cleaned that water almost clear. You could still tell it was salt water, but it was almost clear. So even the shellfish seemed to be begging mankind, just let us do what we were put here to do. Because they're put here to clean the water. Can you imagine how much better this earth would be if we just allowed everything to do the work it's designed to do by the Creator? And it includes us. We're designed to live according to His instructions, but very few of us try. What are you doing? Sorry. Very few of us try. We've been taught that everyone is sinful and there's no use in trying. You can't be perfect. You can't do this. You can't do that. There's just no way to do what's right in the eyes of God. We make our reason for failure. Christians, you're guilty of this. Okay? We make our reasons for failure because, well, Jesus. He lived the perfect life. We don't have to. He did what he was supposed to do. We don't have to. I'm going to dance on some more toes here. Yeshua Jesus told two different people on two separate occasions, go and sin no more. And the way it reads, what he's saying is it's not impossible. You can do this. You can do this. You see, our Creator doesn't want to hear we love. He wants to see we love. He wants us to realize that it's the things we do every day that really matter. Not what we say when we go into church or when we go into the synagogue. It's what we do. And it's not the big things we do. It's all the little things we do. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to have more good things to speak about, more good things to report on. And we can have more good things to speak about when the folks who claim they love would show they love instead of just telling us. I know a lot of people have been convinced that the only way things are going to get better is when the Messiah comes to rule with a rod of iron. Have you actually read what happens during that period of time? You might want to check that out, because there's some things that are going to happen. You might not be as peaceful of a time as you think it is, okay? But why wait? Why wait? You know, you can start right now. You can begin to make your little corner of the world a better place if you're the one willing to change. Because it always begins with one. It always begins with one. It only took one person to bring sin into the world. And now we have all these billions of people. It will only take one person at a time to change, to repent, to make up their mind that, yeah, maybe I should be living the way I'm designed to live. Maybe I should be helping other things live the way they're designed to live, so that the shellfish can clean up the ocean. The birds of prey can clean up the earth. The animals that were designed to eat the dead things can clean up the dead things. We can't improve on God's design no matter how much we try. But we can certainly manage it much better than we're managing it right now. And that's kind of good news too. After all, what was Adam put here for? To guard and to tend the garden. One person, one garden. One person, one garden. If we each tend our own little garden using the skills that each of us are given, you can make this world a better place. You know, your garden might actually be plants. For some of you, your garden might be people. For some of you, your garden might be animals. It depends on where your skill set is. What were you designed to do? How were you designed to help care for the world that was created for you? If you find that out, you'll find out there's a lot of good news in the world. You just have to look for it. You just have to be willing to search it out, willing to find it. It's out there. But for some reason, we've let all the worriers want to pay for more worrying. Don't be a worrier. Be a prayer. Be a doer. Use the skills you were given to make your little corner of your world a better place. You'll see how good things can get. So until Monday.
Until Monday.
We wish you many, many blessings, everyone.
Blessed all.